What up, what up, what up? What's good, what's good? Let me post this. Post my PayPal link so you can tip a pimp. Man, I gotta do this message real quick, and this is about the doctrine of discovery and how to get from under the doctrine of discovery. Very, very difficult, but it's basically the document that the reason why your life might be upside down. Your father's life, your mother's life, everybody you know. If you black, if you Spanish, everybody non-white. So this is the doctrine of discovery. And it's an important document because the doctrine of discovery pretty much sets the tone on modern capitalism, racism, sexism, any ism that you can think of. The origin of it is the doctrine of discovery, right? You can't talk about nothing going on in society until you start at the doctrine of discovery. The doctrine of discovery is very, very, very important, and it's based on language and it's based on spells, all right? Because the people that put the doctrine of discovery in place was good with that spell work. So if you're going to move forward in life, you have to understand the doctrine of discovery and how to maneuver up out of it the best way you can. And if you can try to reverse the doctrine of discovery within your lifetime, man, you're one of the great ones. But it's very difficult because it's a spell and it started 500 years ago. All right? The doctrine of discovery is from 1400s. So when you were born, you were part of a spell and you didn't know it. And you've been wondering why does the world look the way it does? Well, the world looks the way it does based on language, based on the pen, based on the document, right? The doctrine of discovery is very, very important. So I suggest, if you never heard this term, I suggest you write this down, and I suggest you do your own independent research. Don't just have me talk about it. Write down the doctrine of discovery, and then take it further, and then look inside of the lives of everybody that you know, okay? The doctrine of discovery is war of the worlds, all right? A lot of white people don't even know about the doctrine of discovery. But when we're talking about so-called white privilege and white male privilege, it sounds good, but don't start at the doctrine of discovery, you just talking. All right, you don't know what you're talking about. You have to start with the doctrine of discovery, because this document right here set in motion why the world looks the way it looks. When you think about science, who's at the forefront? White males. Biology, white males. Farming, white males. Capitalism, white males. Power, white males, right? So this doctrine basically has a 500 head start on you. So when you think you popping because you bought a home and you got a new car, you got a little bullshit job, congratulations, but it does not do anything because you don't actually have any power. You could just buy shit. And that's what we equate to being powerful, being able to buy shit, but you're not in control of your own destiny. If you can't change the potholes in the road, and if you can't change what the children are learning in school, and if you don't have the power, the political power, on a local level, on a federal level, you're just not doing anything but buying sneakers, right? So a lot of the times when we're running around singing our best life, well, I'm gonna life, I ain't going back and forth with you niggas, that's basically because we're buying shit. That's all it is. I copped a new Benz, I took a trip, and that's cool. That's cool at the end of the day. No shade about that. But there's levels to the game. All right, so we're going to get into this document of discovery, which is very, very important. So that's why I titled this the document of discovery, war of the worlds, and battle of the gods. But I got what I feel like is some solutions. Now, they're not going to come overnight because this document is a beast, right? This document is a beast. So, again, write down the document of discovery. Now, the document of discovery came in a few ways, all right? The one that affected people in Dominican Republic and the Caribbean came, that was from Columbus, but there's one before that, right? The one before that is from 1452, and that was from Pope Nicholas. Okay, Pope Nicholas basically authorized King Alfonso to wage war on any country that was not Christian or Catholic. Do you understand? This is Portugal, right? Portugal, the Portuguese went to South America and Brazil and dominated them. Okay? So understand, when you're speaking Portuguese and we're speaking Spanish, Spanish is from Spain. All right? That's a new group of people. There was no such thing as Hispanic people. There was no such thing as Latin. There was no such thing as Boricua. Those are new people. Okay? So the Spanish and the Portuguese had a license to go out and dominate the entire planet. And this was documented, these were documents put in place by the Pope. Okay, so if your family is Catholic, understand that your family is Catholic or Christian because of the document, the doctrine of discovery. Because you're either going to get down or you're going to lay down. So if your family is Catholic or Christian, they laid down, right? Or they got down, period. Okay? Prior to that, you were something else. All right? That's not my opinion. That is fact. They considered if you weren't Catholic or Christian, you were a savage. You was barbaric, right? By document. This is how powerful language is, all right? So in 1452, Pope Nicholas, first he authorized King Alfonso to wage war on any country or people that were not Christian. Not only can you wage war, right? You can rename the land. You can claim the land in the name of the king. All right. So in America, if you're familiar with a term called manifest destiny, manifest destiny is just a continuation of the doctrine of discovery. Okay. The doctrine of discovery, I'm going to say it, and I got to finish this. I got to talk real quick in an hour. I got to finish it by 6 o'clock. So the doctrine of discovery is the root, what you call racism. If you want to know what is at the seed of racism, colonialism, capitalism, one group of people having a superiority complex, it is the doctrine of discovery. You need to do your research about this because this set in motion the most devastating events in world history in the last 500 years. Okay, so that was Pope Nicholas in 1452, right? That was Pope Nicholas, 1452. So let's go to Pope Alexander, okay? Now mind you, I'm saying the Pope. The Pope. Now these are the heads of your religions, all right? Even you saying the word God, why do you think when you say God, it can't get you out of your situation? Where did you learn the word God from? When you look at the word God from etymology standpoint, it's only from the 12th century. So even the term God is not even an ancient word. All right. And you say that word because you're in another group of people's language. Now, when you look at the word God on an etymology level, it means to pour libations. It's from the Visigoths. And if you're not part of that culture, then when you use the term, it doesn't have the same power for you. I believe language and our genetics are tied together. Okay. So let's, okay. So 1493. So Pope Alexander, remember these names, write them down. Write these names down. Pope Alexander, the papal bull, right? What does the document of discovery do? The document of discovery gives Spain a monopoly on lands in the West. So what y'all call white supremacy is actually nation supremacy, because you have a group of nations that you're lumping together as one group of people, and they're not. You have the Spanish, French, English, Portuguese, Dutch, okay? So, but all of them took their orders from the Pope, because before they came to the West, European nations was having wars about religion, okay? So before Europeans were Christian, they were converted. Before that, they were Celtics, they were Druids, they had their own religions, and they were converted through wars. So when y'all say Christianity is a white man religion, understand white people in Europe didn't even choose that shit. They went to war. You ever heard of crusades? They were converting people. You ever heard of Constantine? When Constantine did the Council of Nicaea, you do realize that the majority of Europe was not Christian. How did they become Christian? Right? Get down or lay down. Okay? So, where am I at? Okay. So the document of discovery allows Spain, right? Yeah, the papal bull. Papal, the papal bull. All right. The document of discovery gives Spain a monopoly on lands to the west. So before there was ever a 13 colony, the Spanish was already over here doing crazy shit. You got Pizarro, you got Cortez. They're running through South America. They're getting gold. You understand? It's the gold from Aztecs and the Incas, the Andes, that allows Spain to become a national power. We're talking about tons and tons and tons of gold. Do you understand? Right? The reason why Europe is a superpower was not necessarily from the slave trade. It's from the gold. Okay, so when Cortez killed Montezuma, he inherited a lot of gold. That was in Mexico. Then you got Pizarro down in the Incas. After that empire fell, that was a lot of gold. Then you had Ecuador. Okay, so I'm trying to talk fast and just give you some points of reference on how you got into the situation that you're in. Okay, so the Spanish were here first. Okay, in terms of a superpower. So they went through Central America, they went through the Caribbean, they went through the Southwest. So you got Arizona, Texas, you got California, right? So any place you see any place you see San Marcos or whatever, the Spanish was here, okay? So, but all of this movement is based on this document that whatever lands they find, it does not matter who's there, they're claiming that land for the king. They're claiming that land in the name of Europe. They're claiming that land. Basically, you weren't even looked as human. Okay, this is very, 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 very important. Okay, so that is the document of discovery. 1493, Pope Alexander. The document states that any land not inhabited by Christians was available to be discovered, claimed, and exploited by Christian rulers, and declared that the Catholic faith and the Christian religion be exalted and be everywhere increased and spread, that the health of souls be cared for, and that the barbarian nations be overthrown and brought to the faith itself. The doctrine of discovery gives Europeans absolute rule. Understand that, even to this day. Even to this day. So when you're talking about no justice, no peace, are you crazy? Are you crazy? No justice, no peace? Do you understand you're going against the document of discovery? You're going against something that was set in motion 500 years, right? Based on the document, there is nothing that anybody claiming Negro, Black, Colored, Hispanic, African American, that no European has to respect. Because by document, you are a savage, you are a barbarian. See, because a war is being waged on you, and you have no clue about it because they're pulling you into another language. So when Cortez gets to Mexico and Pizarro gets to the South America, the people have no idea what's going on because there's a language barrier. And in the language of the Spanish, in the language of the Portuguese, it's on and cracking. So when people pull you into their language, you are subjected to their rules, their laws, and their customs, right? Because once you agree and you're in my language, I now dominate you. So this is a language war because in the beginning was the word. Everything is about the word. Okay, the document of discovery is words. So this is giving Spain and Europe. Later on, United States extended the document with the concept of manifest destiny. Okay, So if you look like me, you and your entire family for the last 500 years are all prisoners of the document of discovery. I don't give a damn if you got a good job. You having a good job only supports the system. And I'm not telling you to quit. Don't do anything stupid like that. I'm just putting everything in context so you know. You being a good American, you being a good husband and as a good wife doesn't do anything but support the system. Okay? So when you hear the American government talk about spreading democracy, that is an extension of the document of discovery. That is manifest destiny, because it's the same concepts and ideologies that was used to go to the Taino, to the Arawaks, to the Incas and the Aztecs. We're talking about trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars in gold. You understand? Okay? So when Christopher Columbus went to the Caribbean, he is basically licensed by the Pope to claim any land, rename it, and it doesn't matter what happens to the people. You understand? Now, you being a prisoner I'm not going to say a victim, you're a prisoner because you've been at war and you don't know that you're at war. So you don't know that the war is in the food, the war is in the household, the war is in the religion, the war is in education. So the illest way to wage war on somebody is to have them aloof to the fact that they're at war in the first place, right? So what you want to do is a few things: language, belief, crosses, flags, and God. Because this is how you're conquered. You're conquered through language, belief, crosses, flags, and God, right? So let's start with God. Let's start with language. The doctrine of discovery is language. So in order for you to reverse the depression in your family, the generational curses in your family, understand you did not create the generational curses that's going on in your family. Your father didn't create the generational curses in your family. Your mother didn't create the generational curses in your family. The generational curses in your family started 500 years ago based on the doctrine of discovery. This is a science. Right? And what it does is it flips people upside down, meaning that after I conquer you, I don't have to be there to monitor you, because I'm going to program you in such a way that you're going to treat your children upside down. You're going to have your relationship upside down. You're going to function upside down, right? So I don't have to be there to monitor you anymore. You guys are monitor yourself, and you're going to do it through language, okay? So Negro, Black, colored, African Americans, those are all corporate ideals that exist on paper. There's no such thing as a Black person that is natural to the planet. There is no such thing as a colored person that is natural to the planet. There is no such thing as an African American that is natural to the planet. All that is extension of document of discovery and manifest destiny. You are my subjects, and since you're my subjects, I will name you. And in this name, I own you. In this name, I basically create a behavior for you okay? So to say you're an African American, you are a creation of the 13 colonies. You only exist on paper, right? The 13th, 14th Amendment. We're anyone going off those terms, you don't even exist outside the realm of paperwork. If you destroy the paperwork, you destroy the so-called African American. The African American is nothing but a fictitious creation within the doctrine of discovery and also manifest destiny. Negro, Black, right? These are all terms and labels put on a group of people that are being controlled. Okay, so language is important. So when you're making your affirmations, you got to make your affirmations so powerful that you can, it takes more than saying I am happy. Now we have to use better words than that. I am powerful. You know what I'm saying? I am the creator. We have to use a language that'll supersede Negro, Black, and colored, nigger, bitch, Boricua, Latino, Hispanic, things like that, right? Because you're against a document that was signed 500 years ago. Now, if you don't think that the people that sign these documents into place do spell work, you're absolutely bugging. These concepts came from the Vatican. Okay, these concepts came from people that have Knights Templars that go around collecting artifacts and relics from around the world. All the world's books the Roman Catholic Church took. Those were books of magic, books of astronomy, books of language, books of sacred geometry. All the world's books from all four corners of the world are in the Vatican. We're talking about artifacts. We're talking about ways to heal each other, different language that are not existing in circulation right now, colors that we can't even see. All of those things has been taken from the people, right? So when the popes of so when the popes are creating these doctrines, they know absolutely what they're doing because they studied ancient sciences. You understand? They're using magic. This is paper gangster shit. Because if I can put you on paper, like Nas said, you a slave to my rhyme book, right? It's just like a gang member. When a gang member wants to kill their enemy, what do? They put the enemy's name on the wall and cross him out. It's power in the pen. The ink of a martyr is worth more than the ink of a scholar is worth more than the blood of a martyr. I can slave you within the pen, right? That's just the same concept of having a Ouija board. I can do that to you in script. Slavery and racism and every ill that is created that affects people in the world is written on paper first. There's a power between the hand and the eye. There's a power between the hand and the subconscious mind. If they tell you, you'll write everything down. So that means I can create white magic and black magic when I write everything down. So Pope Nicholas, when he's giving moral authority to the King of Portugal to go out and wage war on anybody that is not Christian or Catholic. When Pope Alexander is giving Spain a license to come to the West and do whatever they want. So before the Englishmen ever got into it, Spain was running through Central South America and Southwest America, California, Arizona, Texas, all through there. Do you know what's going on? Do you know lives are being changed? And here's the ill thing. Those gods of those people could not stop technology. They had guns. And these people were so superstitious, when they seen fire come out of these objects, they bowed down immediately. Their own superstition killed them. Because Montezuma thought Cortez was a god when he came. He thought this was based on prophecy. These pale men with these armor suits. Montezuma and his people had spears. These people had gunpowder. Do you understand? Right? This is the battle of the gods. And you're in the image and the likeness of your conqueror. But the difference is, when you use God, it don't work for you. When they use God, it works for them. Because you can't tell me that granny, her mama, granddad, all our uncles, everybody go to church, everybody's a religion, everybody prays, everybody uses the word God. But how come our situation is not changing? And those people keep having power, right? It's in the language. So we're going to have to develop a language that is technologically advanced to the point where we can change our situation. It's deeper than just affirmations, right? Those little bullshit affirmations we be making for our self-esteem. No, we have to make a stronger tie, something that awaken some type of spirits. Okay, because the only thing that's going to save us from our situation, we have to access a force that's off this planet, period. Because to put us in our slumber, You know what I'm saying? To put us in our slumber, so language was used. You know what I'm saying? She said we can access the word of God. No, we can't. God, the word, this is not my opinion. This is language. God, the word, comes from is Anglo. That word will not help us. That word helps those that are trying to put us down. We can't use the language that puts us down to pick us up. God is not even an ancient term. We have to go and activate some language that's older than that, that allows spirits off this planet to work in our favor. You know what I'm saying? I can't call on the name of God. The name of God was used to put me in my situation. The name of God was used to fuck my mother over. The name of God was used to fuck my granny over. God is not a divine word for us. Those people that are losing the war. God is a divine word for those people initiating the war. God is a divine term to Pope Nicholas. God is a divine term to Pope Alexander. When they use God, they got power. When we use God, it further destroys us. You know what I'm saying? It further destroys us. So we want to figure out a language that is going to be in our favor. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So that's important. And I know we have an emotional connection with the word, and we think that it means something that it doesn't. But again, etymology is important. Look for yourself. Look at the origin of the word God. It's from the Visigoths. It pour libations on a mound. There's no power in that word for those people that are losing the war. Okay? Now, for those people of Portuguese descent, of Spanish descent, those people under the that are benefactors of the document, the Doctrine of Discovery, the word is great for them. The word is great. We want to take our mind outside of a black mind, outside of a Negro mind, outside of a African American mind. See, because an African American and a black mind and a Negro mind and a color mind, we're predictable. We behave based on the algorithm that was created. You know what I'm saying? The algorithm that was created. Source is a great word because it can be anything. Source can be anything. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said the Bible starts in Africa. Which part? Which part? What part of the Bible starts in Africa? The Torah? And we want to go deeper than that because we want to use something that's non-corruptible. Because guess what? If we had the Bible first, like we claim, and then the God of the Bible abandoned us, so we fall in other people's hands, then it would be very stupid for us to forgive that God for putting our family in this situation. Why wouldn't we go to a God that supports our future, that supports our health, that supports our livelihood? How long are we going to continue to beg for favor of a God that left us hanging? Who would do that? Would you do that in your relationship if you were mistreated by a spouse? No, you would leave. Would you do that at a job? No, you would leave. So why would we continue to pray to something that is not fucking with us? Period. I shouldn't have to ask more than one time. In fact, the deity, based on the narrative, knew what I would go through before I got here and still allowed me to go. But this jealous God, who really is mixed in Norse traditions, you know what I'm saying? Is mixed in Norse traditions. It's a lot of folklore myths. So God having characteristics of being angry and jealous, a lot of that is mixed in with Norse traditions. The god Odin. You seen the movie Thor, Valhalla? All of that is woven into folklore. So you have this great philosophy in like books like Proverbs and Ecclesiastes. You have this great philosophy, but you also have this weird, twisted perversion going on, right? But when you're in other people's languages, they control the narrative. So we want to have a language, we want to have a language that is conducive to what we want in life. Because Pope Nicholas, Pope Alexander, Spain, Portugal, I don't think people understand what happened. I don't think people get it. I don't think people go past the word racism. Yo, do yourself a favor and study what they call Spanish explorers. Do yourself a favor and see what really happened in Dominican Republic, in Puerto Rico, and in the Inca Empire and the Aztecs. Follow the money. Those lives were changing. You know what I'm saying? Their ancient traditions and customs, they lost, right? When they come outside a river that used to be called, is now called Jones River. A tree that used to be called is now called Isabella, right? Your whole reality was renamed and put in another group of people's image. You know what I'm saying? So we want to have a language that is right for us. And like I said, you want to get out of the mind state of being a black man and a black woman. That shit is so limited. And I'm sorry, there's nothing in the cosmos that's going to support a black man and a black woman. There's nothing in the cosmos that's going to support a people that won't return back to nature. There's nothing in the cosmos that will not support people that are afraid to tap into magic and the spirit realm. At this point, we got to allow ourselves to be hosts to energy that's off planet. Because let me tell you something, this documented discovery, it mutates. Just like it started out as the doctrine from the Pope, United States expanded it. All right, how do you think they move so-called Native Americans off their land? They did it with law, right? The Native Americans have no clue that what their fate is because they can't speak the language. So they're at war with a group of people and they don't know the rules of engagement. They don't know what's going on. So we want to talk about the get back. We want to deal with the bounce back so we can kind of shake off some of this shit that's been put on us, because at the root of your trauma, at the root of your anxiety, at the root of your misfortune, at the root of your dysfunction in your family and the women clashing and the men clashing and having no inheritance, at the root of everything you go through in your life, you've been thinking it's from your daddy's bad decisions. No, he's been programmed 100 years ago, 200 years ago to be a nigger. Is based on the doctrine of discovery. You're dealing with scientists. You're dealing with people that study the occult. You're dealing with people that study neuro-linguistic programming. You're dealing with people that understand mantras. You're dealing with people that understand the power of language. You're dealing with people that are dealing with a higher degree of science than you. And you think all you got to do is be a good person and all of a sudden your life is going to change. Man, nature supports the aggressor. Belief, language, belief. When Pope Nicholas sets in motion with Portugal for them to wage war on any nation that was not Christian or Catholic, that was based on a belief that they were superior and a belief that the great architect of the universe gave them a divine. Understand this shit, yo. When people is coming to snatch you and put you on boats, and when people is cutting the heads off of your loved one and taking your land, their belief in them is that they're doing something divine. When you study Wounded Knee, and you study the Trail of Tears, and you study these American massacres by the military, they were cutting women's private parts off and wearing them as hats. And they didn't feel any empathy or remorse because they considered the natives or the Mexicans an alien race whose time was up. They looked at these people as time stood still for them. And it was their duty to civilize the rest of the world. Understand something. This shit is not about feelings. It's about dealings. And they still use the same language right now. We're spreading democracy. And they use language, insurgents, right? When you're wanted for a crime, they call you a subject, right? It's language. Language is very powerful. It's called spelling for a reason, right? So we want to have belief now that we're superior. Yeah. You want to have a belief that you're better than the people that are fucking with you. You want to have an arrogance about yourself that even if you got 2 quarters in your pocket, that you are the shit and ain't nobody can fuck with you, and you keep your head high at all times, and it doesn't matter how many people are pressuring you and putting you in the corner. You want to feel like you're superior at all times. You understand? Nature supports the aggressor. You are whatever you say you are. All right. So, but a lot of the times when you're in it, when you look like this, you're told to be humble. Don't be humble no more. Don't be humble no more. Was the Pope humble when they signed the Doctrine of Discovery? Was the United States humble when they used manifest destiny to push people off their land and take their shit? Were they being humble? Yes or no? Right? No, they weren't. They felt like they were on a mission. So how do you take that same concept and basically lift your bloodline out of poverty? How do you take that same the mentality and lift your own bloodline out of servitude and being at the bottom of the barrel and used to being just a have not? Do you feel me? Yo, when you look at the average white person walk across the street, they don't have a care in the world. They don't have a care in the world. It's your time to drive. They walk slow as hell, like you better not hit me. That's from the document of discovery. It's programmed in it. They don't even know how the shit got like this. They just assume, hey, you know what I mean? White people always been the shit. No, it hasn't always been like that. It's through language, it's through war, and it's through the Roman Catholic Church mastering ancient sciences. Look at their fucking symbols. Look at their shit that they wear. That's based on a priesthood, right? They are dealing with what's called the dark arts. The dark arts. Okay? There's a thing called a science called dark psychology. Right? It deals with symbols, it deals with language, it deals with repetition, right? And it's a way to get to the subconscious part of your body, the oldest part of your being, and programming that shit. This is all about psychology. Okay, for you to wake up, or your ancestors to wake up in an environment where it's 100 of us and it's 4 of them, and we don't do anything to them, you never wonder why. It's based on dark psychology. It's based on words. It's based on hypnosis. It's based on sound. It's based on smell. Okay? This is called the dark arts. Maybe you need to study Crowley. Maybe you need to study shamanism and voodoo. Maybe you need to study language. Maybe you need to study the Celtics. Maybe you need to study ancient oracles. Maybe you need to fuck with people that fuck with astrology, not on a love and light level, but on a power dynamic, because it's astrologers that allowed J.P. Morgan to get where he was. It was dark arts astrologers that allowed John Rockefeller to build his empire. It's dark arts astrologists and numerologists that allow Andrew Carnegie to do the things that he do. We're talking about dark arts, mysticism, on a very dark level. But before you go there, you better decide what you're willing to sacrifice for that. Because the thing about being love and light, you don't got to give up anything. It's free. Love and light. But if you want power, what are you willing to give up? So I suggest before you go into a dark art space, know that there's sacrifice that needs to be made. I'm just saying. So you choose for yourself, right? So you got language, you got belief, you got crosses. Now, notice, every European explorer or conqueror, they came with a cross. Symbols are very important. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words, but a symbol's worth 1,000 pictures. A symbol is worth 1,000 pictures. Symbols affect the subconscious mind. Okay, so maybe you need to develop some type of symbol, and everywhere you go, you just write it out. You mark it all around the world. You know, you mark it in trees. You tag it every place, and you want that symbol to go in people's subconscious mind. And then when they finally see you, and it's more easy for you to download into them. So then when you talk, that symbol is on the books. So they'll always think about you. Like, people don't know Phil Knight, but they know Nike, who is the goddess of war, right? The Starbucks symbol, that's a pagan symbol, right? The ram on Dodge is a symbol, right? The Audi symbol, 4 rings. What does that mean? All these things mean something. That means you don't never have to see me, but you see that symbol, and that symbol goes in your subconscious mind, and it registers, and I'm programming, and I'm doing a million different things on a subconscious level you don't even know. That's what I mean about dark arts. Dark art. Now understand something. Half these niggas ain't are not gonna do anything but eat shit and die. You can't save them, right? You can't save them. You gotta just let it be what it is, right? You gotta do the work. You gotta fuck with this magic. You gotta study. You gotta train, because you're against a system. You're against a system. You're not against a group of people. It's a system. You can take those group of people out, and that system is still going to keep going. And it's all based on language. It's all based on documentation. The Declaration of Independence. Matter of fact, I'll go before that. We can go to Hammurabi's law. Hammurabi's shit was written on stones. There's something very magical and very concrete about the written language. It is the written language, and language in general is about spells. Spells. So when I'm gonna pray, you don't even know what you're doing. You don't even know what you're doing, because real sorcerers and alchemists and hermeticists, they don't pray, they command, right? If we're praying, that means we have lost power, because spirit's nature is here to serve, not ask, right? So if you are water, fire, air, and you got 2 people praying, which one is the elements gonna honor? They gotta honor somebody. Why do one group of people get shit and other group of people don't? You have no power, because you're praying and you're asking, because you think you're born to serve, but it's the other way around. The shit is here to serve us. Water is here for a reason. For me, for you. Sunlight is here for a reason. For me, for you. You take man off the planet, those things don't exist no more. They turn into particles. They don't even exist no more. These things need man to recognize it, to give it meaning. Man is the center of the fucking universe. Don't ever get it twisted. There was never a time when man was not. There is no origins of man. It's always been going on and will continue to go on, because it's consciousness. Okay? But when you're dealing with those priests of the Vatican, man, you're dealing with master sorcerers. You understand? They master sound. They don't watch TV like you, fam. Feel me? They don't know about Nicki and Cardi. They don't know that shit. They dealing with dark magic. They're setting that shit in play to get you to focus on that, but they don't watch it. So imagine yourself conducting the experiment. You're either going to be 2 people, the scientist conducting the experiment, or the person that is getting practiced on, right? So you got language, belief, crosses. Them crosses are your symbols. You don't actually need a cross, but you definitely need a symbol that represents you on a subconscious level, because a symbol is worth 1,000 pictures, right? Then you need a flag. See, I need to repeat that. What about prayer? Okay, so this is prayer. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Son, give us our daily bread. Does that sound powerful? See, but this is the thing, though. This is the thing. That prayer works for a group of people, though. You understand? See, there's two types of spirituality, and you got to ask yourself, which one do you want to fuck with? There's exterior and interior, right? One spirituality is on the outside of your body. It's kind of like a roach or an ant. When you step on a roach or an ant, you hear it crack because its skeleton is on the outside of their body. But then you have the skeleton on the inside of the body. This is the best analogy I can use. Ancient man did not have their spirituality on the outside of their body. It was on the inside of their body. It was all about going into the underworld, which is in your mind. It was all about going inside. The Egyptians, Sumerians, they all dealt with the death realm, which is in here. The Gnostics, they knew that this shit was a hologram. They knew that this shit was fake and it wasn't real. They knew that this was the fall of man. Do you know why these dark arts priests are able to make us be depressed and make us upset and make us be sad? Is because of our connection here. If everybody on the planet that was suffering chose death, those people would not have any power no more, because what we're trying to do is make our human experience better. But it's the human experience that is the hell. This is the death realm. The moment you're born, you're suffering. You walk around every day shitting and farting, right? You walk around every day looking for food. You walk around every day crying. You walk around every day jealous. You walk around every day, I gotta pay my rent. I gotta do this. Did you call me? This is suffering. When you sleep, are you suffering? Is there any more time? Is there any more limits? Is there anything you can't do when you go to sleep? Think about it. All of a sudden, you're able to access all the ideals and power that you can't hear. That's the big thing, is to make you have a human experience. And if you have a human experience, you'll stay away from the real power, which is on the other side. See, they tap into that shit. They bring things from other dimensions. But if you are stuck in the human experience, then that is the reason why suffering never ends. You're trying to improve racism. You're trying to talk about equality. Does nature care? Like, think about it. Does nature care about equality? No. Does the sun care about equality? No. Does the water care about equality? No. And to tell you that this is true, when the Portuguese went to Brazil, you know they had to cross an ocean, right? Did a typhoon flip the boat over? Mm-mm. When Cortez and Pizarro and Magellan and all these people were going to other lands to conquer, did a big wave flip the boat over? Mm-mm. How long were so-called black people slaves in America? Was the sun outside? Right. You ever heard of a thing called a solar flare? Did a solar flare come off the sun and burn the oppressor? No, because nature don't give a fuck. So that's telling you right now, like, okay, so you got language, belief, crosses. You need a flag, right? You need a flag, and a flag is your nation. And I ain't talking about linking up with millions of people. Now I'm talking about your flag to get you in a bet on some human shit. Now this is just basic human shit to get political power. You need a group of people that's like-minded, because the Vatican is an organization. Okay, Columbus had people on his boat. Cortez had people on his boat. Pizarro had people on his boat. Why do I keep saying those two names? Because that's the Aztec Empire and that's the Incan Empire. Some of the most, this is where all the gold comes from. do you understand? This is where all the gold comes from. Tons and tons and tons and tons of gold. Tons, not only gold, but spell work. Those people had papyruses and scribes and spices and shit for healing, right? So you need a flag, and the flag is your people that you really gonna rock with, and that you really gonna fuck with in this life. And it might only be 2 or 3 people. You know what I'm saying? Then, the most important thing, you either gotta kill the concept of God or create a new one, right? You either gotta kill the concept of God or create a new one, because you can't have the same God as someone kicking your ass. So if you hear them say the word God, it's more beneficial to create something that will empower you. You understand? Do you understand? The word God was beat into you, into submission. So when you uttered that word, and the moment you uttered that word, you put yourself in slavery. Francisco Pizarro is the other one. And he's the one that they went to the Andes. That was the Incan Empire. And they went to war with them and fucked them up real, real bad. What do I use? When it comes to God, I was trained by my mom to say that word. So it's, of course, it's still part of my speech. But I don't use anything to describe the mystery. It's a mystery. So if I name it, that means I can count it and I can weigh it. That therefore it's eternal. I think the best thing you could if you had to describe the source, you would say mind. Even when people say the universe, they can't describe it. Like, what does that even mean? What does the universe even mean? You know what I'm saying? What does the universe, what does that mean? Like, where's that at? I don't think that you even want to name it. Because if you name it, then you shrink it. I think the best way to try to describe it is through reverence. You know what I'm saying? Through meditation, through deep thought and enlightenment. You know what I'm saying? God is nothing more than human potential. God is something a human can be. But there's nothing powerful about the name, for us anyway. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing powerful about the name. It's powerful for the Vatican. They got the power because they own the shit. They got a patent on the word God. You know what I'm saying? The human experience, having kids, having kids, getting married, all that shit is the human experience. I want to have a kid for what? Why would you bring a child into suffering? I look at my son every day and just shake my head like, damn, fuck. I should have left you where you at. What's the point? Right? The only way, the purpose for children is if you're thinking of domination. If you're thinking of domination on a certain level where you're trying to keep an ideal alive, then you have children. You know what I'm saying? Children are to keep an ideal alive. So the reason why blacks, Mexicans, Native Americans, the reason why they have children and it's promoted for them to have children is to keep the slavery alive. Because the moment black people don't have any more children, slavery ends. The moment Mexican people don't have any more children, slavery ends. The moment Native Americans don't have any more children, slavery ends. Power broken. As long as we keep having children, then the slavery continues. Right? Because it's inside of us. As long as we keep having children, the matrix exists. Do you think the earth is like, please have more children? No, the earth is like, would y'all stop having more children? The more fucking children you have, the more of you kill the earth. So that's what I mean about the human experience. We're stuck here. We're stuck in our 5 senses. But if you're going to be here, you have to understand how the doctrine of discovery works and how you are affected by it. This is the source of your problems here in the West. You know what I'm saying? That is the source of your drama. That is the source of your trauma here in the West. And please, 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 YouTube it, go further with the document of discovery so you can understand, because I understand that, we work so much and we grind so much, we have no clue how shit got the way it is. Why didn't the Africans use their own magic to fight off Europeans? They couldn't. Technology. There's a good book called Guns, Germs, and Steel. Technology, period. If I got better technology than you, I'm gonna fuck your wife. What you gonna do about it? Right? I'm willing to go further than you. Now understand, you put your mind frame in the mind of a European. Very harsh environment, right? Very, very harsh. It's an environment dominated by kings and queens, and it's so many rules, and you couldn't thrive in Europe. Okay? So all those so-called explorers, they were looking for gold. They were trying to get from up under the Church of England and the Vatican. It was a very, very, very hard place to live. So when they came around, other groups of people had no concept of how far these people would go in terms of warfare. Period. So the Africans tried. It ain't like they just stood down. What are you going to do with these people later coming with a Gatling gun and a musket? You feel me? The Africans and the natives, they're used to hand-to-hand combat. This is what you've been training for. You've been training to fight an enemy 3 feet from you. Well, the European is coming with a device that allows me to kill you from 50 to 100 yards away. That changes the landscape of warfare. So imagine you being with your comrades and you're ready to go to war with these strange looking people coming off this boat, right? And next to you, your friend, your brother, your father, his head comes off. You're like, what the fuck? You will bow down. Fact. I don't give a damn who you are. Some soldiers fought. Some people was like, fuck that, I'm fighting to the end. But the most of the people got in check. Oh shit, you want me to worship who? All right, man, I'm gonna do that. Because if that God is the source of your power, we can't win. We can't win. It's technology. Whoever has the gold rules, whoever has the gun rules. I don't give a fuck how tough you are. If I pull out some magic you've never seen, you'll offer your daughter, your son, your mama, anything to me, because you're gonna equate my that power that I have with some type of supernatural force. Imagine how a gun sounded to a native, to an African, to the indigenous in Australia. Imagine what that sounds like. Right? So, this is how empires are forged. Empires are usually brought together by some doctrine. Okay? So, Australia. Did you know Australia is a British colony? Right? How do you think they did that? Doctrine of discovery. Okay? When the Berlin Conference happened and they divided up Africa, what did they use to divide it up? It was the doctrine of discovery and manifest destiny. Do you understand? And they really thought in their mind that they were doing God's work. Okay? Now, why isn't that God working for you? The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is not working for you. Maybe on a term of you finding a job, but that's you underestimating your own mind. A lot of shit that you credit to some higher soul, that was you. You did that. Do you understand? You did that. The Incas were sun worshipers. Did you know that? They worship the sun. Not like the sun is the entity, but the power behind the sun is what they were worshiping. Did you know that? So when the Spanish went to the Incas, they're like, what the fuck? What? Another thing that made Cortez not understand the Aztecs did blood sacrifice. See, in his Christian faith, Jesus died for the sins of man. In Aztec culture, we had to spill blood to please nature. You understand? See, it was a different concept. So Cortez is looking like, yo, this is, I'm charged. I come here to make you bow to Spain. Yo, this shit is deep. Yo, Spanish comes from Spain, just so we're clear. Spanish comes from Spain. Haitian speak French, because that was a colony. Spanish is a place, okay? A Boricua, a Latin, a Mexican, none of these people existed before. This is a new group of people based on the doctrine of discovery. You understand this, right? Right? Spain is a place. People don't even know this, I think. Oh, it's a Spanish. Where do you think they got the language from? Okay? They had old languages. These are very, very, very old people. But I'm saying this because we're affected by the doctrine of discovery, especially if you are so-called African American, Black, Negro, whatever. We're affected by these things because the English, we speak English. People in South America speak Portuguese and Spanish, right? We speak English, okay? The west coast of Africa was dominated by the English, all right? The Brits, okay? So they used the document of discovery and extended it and created the manifest destiny. They thought the African was inferior, same thing with the native, and they put spells on the people. If you say you're black, this has nothing to do with your emotions. First off, the Spanish called people black first, negro, okay? Then the English took that on, called us black. There's nothing positive about the definition of black in their language. Remember, we're in their language. I don't give a damn what it means in Swahili. We're not in Swahili. I don't give a damn what it means in Yoruba or Igbo. We're in English. In English, black is cursed. Black is devoid of light. What is knowledge? What is light? Knowledge. Black is immoral, right? What is white? White is incapable of immoral impurity. Now, let's go back to the document of discovery. When Pope Nicholas in 1452 tells Alfonso, the king of Portugal, to wage war on every nation that's not Christian or Catholic. And he gives him what? Moral authority. Why do you think when a cop kill a nigga, the cop is never guilty? What do you think that's about? That's a spell. Because technically, based on the Dred Scott decision, there is nothing about a so-called black that a European has to respect, not even your life. This is based on documentation. Look into the Dred Scott decision. They don't have to honor your life based on documentation. When European settlers came over to America by law, they don't have to respect other people that are not European. You gotta understand this shit, like, right? And if you were European, you would be under that mindset. So you've been thinking that you can pray this away. No, this is law, right? So what you want to do is look into this shit. Maybe change your reading material. Look into the Spanish Inquisition. Look into the doctrine of discovery. Look into the divine right of kings. So you could kind of get a feel for how you wake up and one group of people has power and another group of people doesn't. Like, where is it coming from? And understand that the God that you pray to is not going to help you. I'm telling you this. I can guarantee that whatever you pray to is not coming, is not fucking with you, because it's not yours. It was given to you. And your reason why if I can get you to come into my jurisdiction and my timeline when it comes to your spirituality, I'm going to have control. I'm calling on my God that works for me, because it's about language. And this is the the root and the issue with your entire family. Post what books? That's all stuff you can find online. Don't just use Wikipedia. Actually look at researchers. You have the divine right of kings, right? That means a king feels like they have a divine right to rule. Crazy. The divine right of kings. You have the doctrine of discovery. You have manifest destiny. Let me see. He says, so in your opinion, what do you identify yourself as in this geographical location? I don't even know, man. I don't even got all the answers. I just know what's going on with me. And I just know it's a spell on me. So what I identify myself with as an individual, that's kind of hard because this is not about like on an individual thing. The document of discovery, the doctrine of discovery was about groups of people, right? It represents groups. So when one individual would go out, he still represents a group, right? So that white man represented white men, right? Okay, so that's how it is. So as an individual, I'm not shit for real. What the fuck can I do by myself? But nothing. But as a group, like you need a group identity, right? So as an individual, you were in ancient times, you would be known as such and such from the land of boom, right? You would be connected to a land you're from, and that's what your name would be. You would be Marsilius from Athens, right? You would be such and such from that land that you come from as an individual. But as a group, there's a law that your group falls under. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know really how to answer that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I'm solo dolo. But I think that's my time is up. Yo, make sure you fuck with me on the PayPal, man. Doctrine of Discovery. Check it out. Peace.